$0.9 million of your dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa, and $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa.
CrossroadsIRL.com.
And they would send $500 million to liberal news outlets by refunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It would also restore up to $5 billion of American taxpayer funds for wasteful spending for international projects. Here's a couple of examples. This is in their legislation, their counterproposal on the CR to keep the lights open. This is what they want to do. They want to spend $24.6 million of your hard-earned dollars as a taxpayer for climate resilience in Honduras. They want to spend $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. They want to send $3.9 million for LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Western Balkans. They want to spend $2.9 million of your dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa, and $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa. We are not doing that. And they would send $500 million.
Yeah, so the Republicans are refusing to waste the taxpayer money of Americans, and the Republicans are refusing to do that, and the Democrats are saying that they are wrong for not engaging in waste, fraud, and abuse. Those projects sound very much like fraud to me. Why would you send all that money for all of those projects in Africa? And believe me, once that money gets into Africa, it disappears. Sometimes I even feel like it doesn't even leave the United States. The money just evaporates while it is in Washington, D.C. This is fraud at the highest levels of government in the United States. All right, so let's just call it what it is. Excuse me, sorry about that. I used to think that the United States had fraud, waste, and abuse locked down and completely eradicated. But after paying attention to the goings on in the government of the United States, oh boy, how wrong I was. So the Democrats want to spend over $1 trillion. They want $1 trillion to be released before they stop the shutdown. And they have been saying that this is a Trump shutdown. Meanwhile, they're the ones who threatened to shut down the government if they didn't get their way. Well, they didn't get their way, and the government is shut down. Well, whose fault is it? Of course, the person who threatened to shut down the government if they didn't get their way. And now they're saying through MSNBC and CNN that this is a Trump shutdown. Well, it is a Schumer shutdown from all indications. And we are now on, I think this is day what? The shutdown started, this is day 12, I think. This is the 12th day or 13th day of the shutdown. So it's interesting to watch. And there are speculations that this shutdown is being held so that the No Kings protest happening this Saturday would have a lot of critical mass and anger and talking points saying that the president is causing families to go without food stamps. The president is depriving young mothers of the necessary funding they need to take care of their kids and so on. It's all calculated to create outrage. And when you see how they are farming for outrage, using the American people as fodder, right? It should upset you. It should upset you. And though I don't live in the United States, watching it happen is problematic, because what I have learned over time is that whatever happens in the United States eventually finds its way into other countries that look up to the United States. And if other countries begin to do this, what will the world look like? Where people who lean left hold the people hostage until they get their way, or unless they get their way. So let me know what you think of this in the chat, because the question is this. Mainstream media is trying to pressure the Republicans to acquiesce to the Democrat Party, telling them, look, it's your fault that the party, that the government is shut down unless you let us have our way. It's like a child throwing a tantrum and refusing to stop throwing a tantrum until you let them have their way. My youngest threw a tantrum yesterday at Thanksgiving dinner. We were out to Thanksgiving dinner with friends, and he chose the worst time to go on a tantrum. He was whining and crying for about an hour. And when we sat down to have dinner, it was as if he ramped up his rage and was literally screaming at the dinner table. What did I do? I picked up the young man because my wife said, look, I should, let him be, that she'll calm him down, and she wasn't succeeding. So I picked him up, took him to a private room, and we had a come to Jesus moment. I told him, look, this isn't going to work. You better shut up. We're having dinner with friends, or else you're going to be out here by yourself. And you know what happened? The young man calmed down. He's 3 years old. He's intelligent enough to know that he's in trouble unless he behaves himself. And I think that in government, people should learn how to hear no and not. Sorry, my youngest is called. Yes, James. Okay, fine. So both of you should have dinner. I'll be right down. Okay. All right. So that's my youngest, not knocking on the door. All right. Sorry about that. So yeah. The Republican Party should not cave, but we're going to have a lot of stories being told that this is the fault of President Trump and the Republican Party. 2.9 million for desert locusts risk in Africa.
Subscribe.
Thanks for watching, liking, and sharing this video. Please subscribe, leave a super thank, and join my membership to keep me doing this. A huge thank you to my supporters listed on the screen. Thank you for your donations and membership.
Thanks for watching.